So let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, The Occult View. I'm up early in the morning because I feel like talking. I woke up kind of early. It's 4:40 a.m. And I really like this time of morning because I can really think and I can really tune into my spirit and just examine things. And I want to call this examination, condemnation, judgment. These are words we oftentimes use when we don't want to be examined. And there are a lot of things that need to be examined. There are a lot of things that need to be condemned and judged. The problem with us as black people, we condemn and judge the wrong shit. And that is why we stay in shit. You feel what I'm saying? There are a few things that I want to talk about, and they may not be politically correct, but then again, I am not a politically correct person. First off, let's talk about the situation that took place on that New York subway with the young man who was subdued by other passengers. Let me tell you all one thing. Let me just tell you all this. I'm really beginning to understand that we've been played, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit later because I saw a brother's video, and he was really dropping some real information that really makes you think. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when I was listening to this brother, I said, "What? See, those are the type of black men that I like right there." That type right there. See, there is not there's not a large um, numerical amount of black men like that particular brother to exist. Because, honey, let me tell you something. I was like, where are the black men that are like that? That's the type of black men that I used to be attracted to a long time ago, back in the day, before I evolved. Let me just say that. You feel me? I mean, he was spitting so much truth and so much passion. Child, my nipples were getting hard. I was getting an orgasm just listening to this brother. Not, don't take it the wrong way, but it was an orgasmic experience because those are the types of brothers that I like. Those brothers that are really conscious. That's not selling people out for money and throwing people under the bus for money and sucking on the dick of money and becoming a slave for money when really money should be a slave to you. You shouldn't be a slave to it. But that's another story. I don't beg for money. Money begs for me. You get my drift? Here's where I'm at with this. The whole thing with the young man that was subdued and he ultimately died um, because he was put in a chokehold on the New York subway. Here's my thing with this. All of my life, I have watched black men around me do the most horrible things, and not just black men, but black people in general. I'm not just going to put it on black men. Black men and black women and black people in general. I have watched black people around me do the most horrible things to each other. The most horrible things. And we want to have this mentality, trying to find the right words. I don't care about offending anyone, but I want to find the right words. we have this mentality that if it's a black person, it's okay that they are dishonorable, that they are disrespectful, that they are a danger to a community or a disturbance to a community, right? Now, everyone is hollering. This young man had mental issues, and it was difficult for his family to get the help for him that they needed. Okay, I get that. I understand that. But my problem is this: why is he being painted as a saint? Why is he being painted as a saint? Okay, scratch that. Why is he being painted as someone that was innocent? He had been arrested 42 times. He was not a baby. This man was 30 years old. He was arrested 42 between 40 and 42 times for violent crimes, according to what I read. He was on the subway complaining about being homeless and being hungry and having no, and lacking in so many areas. And he was on the subway threatening passengers who were not even bothering him. So those men subdued him. Now, I'm not saying that they should have killed him. Let me be clear about that. They're going to have to pay for that. I'm not saying they should have killed him. You don't put people in no motherfucking chokehold. You don't do shit like that. But at the same time, I'm looking at his family like, well, they said that he has been kind of out of his mind since 2007 when his sister was murdered. He has not been right since 2007. So you mean to tell me from 2007 up until 2023, you all could not find him any mental help? If you're using the term that he was mentally ill, it was more to it than that though. Because he thought he was Michael Jackson. He was dancing and parading around on the train like he was Michael Jackson. But that particular day, he did not exude any of those traits. That particular unfortunate day, he was threatening people, people that don't know him. People don't know him. So what I don't understand is, why do people assume, especially black people, why do you expect people to assume somebody is nice and that someone is not going to hurt you simply because you have prior knowledge that this person is a nice person? But the people on the train, they knew him as being a bully and being a possible danger to them. But we're supposed to close our eyes to that, right? No examination, no condemnation, no judgment, right? We're supposed to close our eyes to that, right? That he was threatening passengers because he didn't have food and water and he was lacking. My question to the family is, where were you all then? You mean to tell me that he couldn't come to none of your homes and at least get something to eat or get something to drink? I'm only going by the reports. I'm only going by the reports. Now, again, I don't think he deserved to be. I don't think he deserved to be choked and killed. I don't agree with that. Let me be clear about that. But what did you expect to happen? He was on the train throwing things at people, threatening people. What did you expect? People were afraid. And then they wanted to connect this to George Floyd. Why is everything always connected to George Floyd? Why, you saw some black guy outside yelling and screaming, how many more? How many more? I have a question. How many more black men are going to put themselves in fucked up ass positions to get fucked up like that? How many more black men are going to put themselves in those positions to get fucked up like that? Because I'm going to tell you something. A lot of those black men, A lot of them are not good people. We keep um, putting these people in a hero status or putting them on a hero pedestal when a lot of them may not deserve it. And I don't give a fuck who gets offended because we're not looking at it or examining it or condemning the behavior. Now his family has an online fund to fund this person's funeral. You mean to tell me none of them thought to take out an insurance policy on him just in case something had happened to him? But they're asking for strangers online to donate money to a person who has a history between 40 and 42 arrests. He has a history of being violent. And we're supposed to ignore that, right? No condemnation, no judgment, no examination. Right? We're not supposed to examine the details. We're not supposed to examine the facts. We're only supposed to go off of emotion, right? We're not supposed to analyze it. Intellect is for a reason. Emotion is for a reason. Again, I don't agree with them killing him. Of course not. They could have just subdued him until the police got there or until they got to the next station or whatever. But they choked him and killed him. And I don't agree with that. That was wrong. But here comes the agendas. Here comes the propaganda. Because the man, I believe the man that put him in the, well, I don't believe it, I saw it. The person that put him in the chokehold was a white guy. And I think he was a former Marine or a current Marine. I don't know. But my question is, what in that situation where he was on the train threatening people and harassing people, what did you expect to happen? What did people expect the outcome to be? We live in a totally different world now. And people want to talk about mental health and all that bullshit. This is beyond mental health. That man had demons on him. He had demons on him. Yeah. Yeah. I can look at him and tell he had demons on him. And what's interesting is that he did not even look the same when he was parading around as Michael Jackson. I don't even know if that's the same fucking person. Might be, but when they showed the images of him dancing on the subway as Michael Jackson, I'm like, well, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that they actually have recordings of him dancing as Michael Jackson? They have recordings of him doing that? You knew something was wrong with him when he was doing that. What type of demon was that was convincing him that he was Michael Jackson? But people don't look at that as like, well, something's wrong with that person. That person's a little touched. And if it ties into mental health some kind of way, my question is from 2007 until 2023, you expect us to believe that there were no resources that were available that could have gotten him mental help or whatever he needed. Let's just say that for the sake of, the public. Let's keep it on the mental health spectrum because that's what people understand. I knew he was possessed by demons when I saw him because a lot of these types of black men are possessed by demons. They're breeding grounds for demons, especially when they invite them in with all them goddamn tattoos and shit that they put on their goddamn body. Not saying that he had them, but I'm just saying. And now his family has a fund to help pay for his funeral expenses. I just find all of this very interesting, how we always take these stories and we make it into the poor black man. The poor black man. Some white man and murdered him. It's a racial thing. But hold up. Do we ever look at these things objectively and say, wait a minute, is it really a racial thing? Or was that man actually standing up for people who were innocent that this person was harassing and intimidating. I've been around black men with mental issues or not. Black men are bullies. Black women can be bullies too. Black people can be bullies in motherfucking general. And I don't give a fuck who gets mad about me saying that. The black community has a problem with bullying. It's not always motivated by mental health issues. I'm just saying that to throw that out there. But my question is, once again, you mean to tell me he was thirsty, he was hungry, and nobody in his family would feed him? Nobody would feed him? They kept saying in the article, well, we tried to get him help. We tried to do this. We tried to do that. From 2007 to 2023, you mean to tell me you couldn't get him no mental help or no spiritual help? But now everybody wants to come forward and act like they're so bereaved, right? But we're supposed to sit up here and continuously believe that all of these types of people are victims all the time. How do we know this shit wasn't even, how do we even know? Let me just say this. Allegedly. How do we even know that some of this shit ain't even fucking staged? Huh? Then you got niggas in the street talking about, how many more? How many more? I don't know. I don't know how many more. I don't know how many more. And I find it interesting now, all of a sudden, his family, they coming through talking all this, oh, well, we did. Come on now. The man was allegedly hungry, thirsty, and broke, lacking. And you mean to tell me couldn't none of y'all get that man nothing to eat? See, this is the problem in the black community. We sit back and we let people drown. So now it's the public's responsibility to know and to be conscious of or conscientious of your relative that you have information that this man has mental issues, and you expect everybody else in the public to know that. We don't know that he was a good guy, which he wasn't, because he was arrested 40 to 42 times for fucking violent crimes. And I don't give a fuck who gets mad about me saying that. He was arrested between 40 and 42 times for violent crimes. And you expect us in the unsuspecting public to put up with that motherfucking shit? I don't give a fuck if he had mental problems. I don't give a fuck if he had demons on him. And I'm speaking in code right now. At the end of the day, if a person like that approached me trying to harm me, I'm gonna try to take them out too. He was a danger. He was a danger. He was a threat. And you cannot expect people who don't know this or these people or that person, you cannot expect people to sit back and say, well, he has mental health problems. How do we know? He was on the train attacking people for no reason. I actually feel sorry for that Marine. I feel sorry for him in a way. I think he probably went overboard. I think it just got out of hand. But I feel sorry for him because now they're going to prop him up as being a racist. They're going to say he doesn't like black people. Black people don't even like black people. So what the fuck are you talking about? All of these black devils that are out here today. And that's what I'm getting. And I'm getting ready to go into another topic, and I'm going to intertwine it with what I'm saying. I was watching this brother yesterday, and he was talking about how a lot of the problems that we have as black people, it's not because of white people. It's because of black devils who are in higher places and they're hiding. And white people are the scapegoat for a lot of this shit. And I know a lot of black people ain't ready to hear this shit. But I have been saying this shit my entire life. My 44 years of living, I've been saying this shit my entire life. Now, let me say this as a disclaimer. No, I am not excusing white racism. No, I am not excusing white bigotry. But God damn it, they have to have a motivating motherfucking factor that they probably don't even know about. And he brought up a lot of good points just to make you think. And I've heard other people say this too, but I'm not giving those motherfuckers credit. I'm gonna give this brother credit over here. Okay? I'm gonna give this brother credit. He made a very valid point. He said, and even in these families, he was saying that how do we even know that we're even in the right family? Because what he was saying was is that a lot of these Moors and Masons and all of these motherfuckers, a lot of them are here to destroy us, especially the ones at the very top. They're here to kill, steal, and fucking destroy because they are the true devils, black devils that we don't talk about because it's not politically correct to call black people devils because we've been so focused on the white man. We've been so focused on white men. But what if white people are nothing but pawns in this shit? What if they're nothing but pawns in this shit? But the real devil is the one that looks just like me and you, but they're really not like they look like us, but they're not really us. He was making these points. And I was like, you know what? This explains a lot of the dysfunction in the black community. This explains why there's so many black people that are against each other. Take away all of the isms and the phobias and all that. Take away all of that and just sit back and watch. Just sit back and really watch what's happening. Because when I really sit back and examine most of the shit that has happened to me in my life at the hands of my family, people in my community, when I really sit back and examine, it really wasn't a whole lot of white people involved. I mean, it may have been a few, but truth be told, if I'm being totally honest, without any bigotry or any subjectivity, if I really sit back and be honest with myself, most of the people that have tried to destroy me have been other black people in my family, in my community, hell, even where I'm living at right now. Even where I'm living at right now. And even though these people that I'm around, even though they're not on any high level, they could be fucking agents. And this brother was making that point that a lot of these people could be agents because they know who you are. That is why a lot of black people are really well versed in triggering other black people. They know how to trigger you. They know how to say things to trigger you. Black people are very good at doing that because a lot of these motherfuckers are agents. Let me tell you a story. My great grandmother who raised me, she had a cousin. She had a cousin named James. I'm going to tell y'all a little bit of my business. She had a cousin named James. And I put two and two together. People kept saying that he was a professor, right? They kept saying he was a professor. And sorry, my leg is itching. My leg itching. And he would come around my he and my great grandmother, they were first cousins. And my great grandmother's mother, she raised him, so he kind of felt like my great grandmother was his sister. But there was something very strange about, I used to call him Uncle James. There was something very strange about Uncle James. He was not a very nice man. He was not a very nice man. And he would come around my great grandmother sporadically. And my throat is itching, my allergies bother me, child. He would come around her sporadically. And it was almost as if he was coming around to just monitor, to see what was going on. I didn't recognize that then. But as the years went by after his death and my great grandmother's death, I began to say, you know what? He came around to monitor. And I began to wonder, this professor profession that he claimed or proclaimed to be in, was that really a cover for him really working for the CIA? I used to really wonder that. Was that really a cover for him? Was he really an agent? Because we have agents in our families. I believe that. We have agents in our families who monitor us, keep tabs on us, trigger us because they know that we're the real. Some of us are the real, let's just say, some of us are the real awakened ones. Some of us are the real wise ones. And that is why a lot of times those of us who are the awakened ones in our family or the ones who are supposed to break these generational curses, the reason a lot of times why we are outcast and why we're treated the way that we're treated, not just by our families, but by our society in general. Let me tell you another story. And this is when I knew that working for other people or trying to get a job in the system was not for me. Let me tell you another story. I remember back in the late 90s when I tried to get work, tried to look for a job after I graduated high school. I didn't want to go to college because I was in a dire situation at that time. I was living with relatives that I did not like, and I wanted to get out. I wanted to get my own shit. Okay? And I wanted a better life for myself, not knowing that all I had to do was sit on my motherfucking ass and the universe will provide. People ain't ready for that. People ain't ready for that. That's for me. May not be for you, but that's for me. The universe provides for me. And it ain't no hard work included in that motherfucking shit. Okay? So I went to this place, this employment agency. Two black women. I'm going to say two bitches. Two bitches. They were gritting on me. These were older black women, by the way. This is why I say, black people can be devils. Black people are devils, especially here in Washington, D.C., especially here in Demon City. These two bitches, they were gritting on me and throwing me a whole bunch of shade. These were old women, too. And when I say old, they looked at that time, they were probably in their maybe late 40s, maybe early 50s. Now here you have a young black guy coming in looking for work. They were gritting on me and just being very, very nasty, very discriminatory, very prejudiced. The same thing that they accused white people of being now, right? And one of them looked over my resume and said, you only have 6 months of work experience. And I didn't say it at the time because I was a little bit more timid then. But in my mind, I was saying, bitch, what do you mean? I'm saying it now like, bitch, what are you talking about? How much work experience do you expect an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old to have if I've just gotten out of high school? See, they told us this lie that if you graduated high school and got a high school diploma, then you could get a job. This is the shit that they told us in school. They told us all these motherfucking lies. But they didn't tell us that they changed the rules of the fairy tale. Like in Hellraiser, they didn't tell us that they changed the rules of the fairy tale. That once you got a high school diploma, you then had to find a college to go to in order to get mediocre motherfucking jobs and positions where you would have to work until they halfway kill you and get underpaid for that motherfucking shit, right? So I was thinking to myself, all of these experiences that I've had dealing with black devils, We're talking about black devils here. And listening to this brother talk, this solidified and confirmed everything that I've always said. If the white man is a devil, the black man is running him a close motherfucking second. See, I've never looked at the white man as no devil. I've looked at the white man and the white woman as followers of the devil. You see what I'm saying? I've never looked at them as the devil because I don't think that they have the mental fortitude to really implement a lot of the things that have been implemented against black people. The things that have been implemented against black people, genetic, let me just say the genetic terrorism, medical terrorism, psychological terrorism, drug terrorism, all of these things that have been implemented against us, it has to be a black person that is giving them the information and giving them the profile to do these things. It has to be. But see, we don't live in a culture that examines, judges, or condemns. We judge the wrong motherfucking shit. Just like a lot of these motherfucking, gender war people. A lot of them are agents as well. Your Tommy Sotomayors, your Kevin Samuels. A lot of them are agents as well. He was even saying a lot of them conscious. Well, we know a lot of them conscious niggas are motherfucking agents. We know that. We know they fucking devils. I know that first motherfucking hand. We know they fucking devils. We know that, don't we? Yeah, we know they devils. We know how they get down. We know how they get down. We know what's up. But it ain't just them. It's not just them. It's others as well who work on the spiritual spectrum, who do things to tear down and to take out black people who are bringing certain enlightenment and consciousness. I wish the fuck they would fuck with me. I wish the fuck they would fuck with me. Because see, I'm not even going to go there. Or should I go there? Should I go there? Should I really go there? They don't want to fuck with me. Because see, I have the heart of a lion and I have the mouth of a motherfucking dragon. You understand me? And like I told you all, I'm like Damien from the motherfucking Omen. And I'm not talking about when I say that, see, Damien wasn't fucking with nobody in the Omen. They was fucking with him. If you really go back and look at the Omen, like I told y'all before, they were fucking with Damien. Going back to what I said about the Omen, they were fucking with Damien. Damien wasn't bothering them people. He was who he was. He was who he was. But they were fucking with Damien. Damien wasn't fucking with them. So like I said, I wish any of them motherfuckers to come because I got something for your ass spiritually and physically. So keep that in mind. I wish the fuck you would. And it wouldn't just be you that's going to get it either. It wouldn't just be you. And it would go on and on and on. Even if you go to another planet, I will find you. And that's how I feel about that. When this brother was talking about families and how families always want you around for holidays so they can do rituals on you. They don't want you around no other time. They want you around holidays and these whack-ass cookouts and all that old bullshit. They want you around then so they can do rituals on you, so they can do spell work on the food and stuff like that, because people don't understand. People think you got to put herbs and food and stuff. No, you don't. You can enchant shit talking too much. But you get my drift. You get my drift. And when he was talking about all of this, and I know most people will look at this, oh, that sounds whatever. No, I felt that in my spirit. When he was talking about this, I said, wow, it just makes you reevaluate everything that's around you. It makes you reevaluate the people that you come in contact with. You know, I've gone into places and people automatically got a fucking attitude. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What type of energy is this? Why are you mad at me? What have I done? You know, because it's something prior that's by design. Have you ever called a place like I have, and as soon as you tell them your name, their entire energy changes? I've had that happen to me a lot of times. I call Verizon, say my government name, such and such, such and such, and then their entire energy changes towards me. And some of them were white people that I was talking to be fair. But the point that I'm making is this: I think there's a lot of validity in what that brother says. I think there's a lot of validity in what he says because I have to tell you, some of the biggest devils are black liberals. Some of the biggest devils are black liberals. They're always trying to call out white racism. They're always trying to call out discriminatory practices, but they practice discriminatory practices against other black people each and every day. Those rich black liberals, the ones who really shouldn't be in that position, the positions that they've stolen from real Boule people. I think and I'm not debating, there's no debate, but I think where me and the brother may differ, I'm not going to say he's wrong, but I think where we differ when he was talking about the Boule. See, there was a real Boule. But before I get into that, let me say this. He even made a point, and I said, you know what? I have to really think about this. He made a point to say, how do we know it wasn't really black people up under those motherfucking sheets of the Ku Klux Klan? How do we know it wasn't black people involved in that? Because you do know they say that there was a black man that was involved in the murdering and kidnapping of Emmett Till. That's yeah. That's if that Emmett Till story really happened, allegedly, because I'm hearing some shit that I don't even want to get into about that. I'm hearing some shit about that lady Carolyn Bryant who accused Emmett Till of whatever. She just died not that long ago. I'm hearing some shit about her that is kind of blowing this entire story in a totally different direction. So I really don't know what to believe about this story. I'm hearing that she had connections to the Kennedys, to Lucille Ball. Do you know the I Love Lucy lady and her husband Desian is Babalu? I heard that she has connections to them and even the Obamas. But I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to leave that right there. And what we think is not what we know is not really what happened. I'm hearing a lot of different things. Let me say allegedly. But we don't examine, we don't condemn, and we don't judge, right? This brother was saying that, I forgot my point that I was getting ready to make. He was talking about, let me just go back to he was talking about the Boule, and he was saying that the Boule is responsible for this. But see, what I was going to say is, I remember now. He was saying that what if what we have been told about the Ku Klux Klan, what if there were black people involved in the Ku Klux Klan as well? Well, that would not surprise me. That would not surprise me if black men were involved in the Ku Klux Klan. That wouldn't surprise me because you have black men in modern times walking with the Klan and going up to them, giving them hugs and kisses on the lips and all that type of shit, which I don't care anything about, but you do have that. Here's another thing. Are we not supposed to examine? Are we not supposed to judge or condemn that the founder, I'm not going to say he's the founder. I'm sorry. I'm going to say the leader of the Proud Boys, one of the leaders, I'm assuming he's one of several leaders, but I'm going to say the leader of the Proud Boys, are we supposed to sit here and act like and sweep under the carpet that the leader of the Proud Boys, what's his name? Enrique Tario? And I may be saying that wrong. Are we supposed to ignore that that's a whole fucking nigga right there? You know, the one who led the January 6th riots on the Capitol here in DC? Are we supposed to ignore that he's Afro-Cuban? Are we supposed to ignore that? We're supposed to ignore that, right? Whatever work, because I can tell it was some spiritual work behind that. Whatever work was behind that, it was strong. And I'm assuming it was some Paulo work. That was some Paulo. Are we supposed to ignore the fact that the Proud Boys leader is a whole fucking nigga who led that riot on the Capitol January 6th? Enrique Tario, or Tario, whatever his name is. Are we supposed to ignore that? Are we supposed to ignore, and I'll get back to my point, are we supposed to ignore, not judge or condemn? Because the brother brought up a lot of different things. He even said about Obama, how the things that went on with Obama and how black people were not, there were so many bad things that happened to black people under the Obama administration. He was saying how so many bad things happened to black people under the Obama administration. Are we supposed to ignore that, not judge it, condemn it, or examine it? Are we supposed to ignore the fact that most of these jurisdictions where black men are being subjected to racially discriminatory practices, most of these police jurisdictions, most of the men in a lot of these cases, most of these men were black police chiefs in these jurisdictions where brothers were killed unjustly by white police officers. Most of them were black police leaders and captains and commissioners and all that shit. Are we supposed to ignore that? That most of these communities in that of the police were headed by black men? I'm trying to find the right words, child. Most of these communities where brothers have been killed by police unjustified, most of these communities are headed by black men. Most of these police departments are headed by black men where black men were murdered and killed unjustly by so-called white men, right? But we blame the white men, but we don't blame the person behind the scenes. We don't blame them. We blame the white guy who's really the fall guy. Who's really the fall guy for a lot of this shit. Is that why Derek Chauvin, and I'm going to be honest with you, is that why Derek Chauvin was looking so shocked in court after, during the George Floyd murder trial? Because he was looking like he was under some type of MK Ultra mind control, like he didn't know what the hell was going on. Is that why he was looking like that? And again, wasn't the police chief of that jurisdiction, wasn't he a black man too? Wasn't he a black man too? Wherever George Floyd was murdered, whatever state, I don't remember and I don't really care, but whatever state or whatever city or jurisdiction that George Floyd was murdered in, wasn't that police chief a black man too? But we're supposed to ignore that, right? We're supposed to ignore that the leader of the Proud Boys is a whole fucking Afro-Cuban nigga. We're supposed to ignore that, right? We're supposed to ignore that. We're not supposed to examine that, right? I'm just pointing things out. Not saying that it is not whatever. I'm just pointing things out that we don't get to examine and judge and condemn, right? The brother was making a point in this video. He was making a point. I done lost my train of thought. But he was making a point about something, and I can't remember what it was. It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. But we're not supposed to judge any of this, right? We're not supposed to judge any of that, right? We're not supposed to judge that under Obama, so many racially charged things happened to black people at that time. Oscar Grant, who I believe was the sacrifice to push Obama through. We're not supposed to question any of this or look at it and see the ritualistic energy behind it. We're not, right? We're supposed to just say, oh, okay, that's what happened. I was getting ready to make a point. I'm mad because I can't remember what it was. I can't remember what it was. But all of these things that are happening, and we're not supposed to look and say, wait a minute. We're not supposed to look and say, wait a minute, there are some black devils behind this shit too. See, I don't mind calling a thing a thing. I don't care if you're black or whatever. If you're a devil, you're a motherfucking devil. But I think that our issue as black people, we're dealing with a lot of high level black devils that are in plain sight. That are in plain sight. They especially target single mothers. They especially target black single mothers. They do. They do. I remember what I was going to say as it pertains to the Boule. I think where me and the brother may differ, or I have my, not differ, but I have my own perspective. When he talks about the Boule, here is my thing with the Boule. And he was saying that what if, on a side note, what if the burning and the attack on Black Wall Street, what if that was black people that actually did that shit? Black devils in high level places. Because they didn't want those particular black people to be prosperous. They didn't want that. Because they ran their organization like a bunch of motherfucking gangsters and ghetto ratchet ass people, which is why we have this ghetto ratchet society now. But what I was going to say was, as it pertains to the Boule, see, there were real Boule people. There were real Boule people that did not get down with this type of shit. See, I don't think these people are real Boule. I think that they are implants. I think that they're imposters that took out the real Boule people and we were replaced with this ghetto ratchet motherfucking trash. And maybe it may be some type of karmic thing or karmic debt that my side has to pay. I don't know. Maybe. But I don't think that these people are the real Boule people. I think that they killed off and took out the real Boule people and replaced them with ghetto, ratchet, dishonorable, low vibrating people who are posing as Boule people. because the real Boule people did not get down like this. Yeah, they had their shit with them, but they didn't get down like this. Real Boule people didn't get down like this. There wasn't any whole bunch of violations and all this bullshit. You were what you were. You had class in whatever you were. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm just adding to that. I think that some of these people are not even real Boule. I think that they're implants and transplants and false and fraudulent imposter Boule people that have taken over an energy that they weren't really born in. See, I was born in a Boule bloodline. I was born in a real Boule bloodline. That is why I don't get along with certain people. And I'm not talking about no motherfucking Masons and no motherfucking, no, I'm not talking about no Masons. Masons are not Boule. Masons are not Boule. Masons are imposters and transplants, and I don't give a fuck who don't like what I'm saying. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Masons are not real Boule people. They are the current Masons. These are the ghetto ratchet types. From the lowest level on up to the motherfucking top. Because I know a Mason that lives not that far from me. And that nigga's a motherfucking pimp. And this nigga's old. He damn near fucking 70-something years old. And he's a high-level Mason. So everything we think is, it really ain't. What we think about them is not really what you think. It's not really what you fucking think. I think that they killed off and they destroyed a lot of the real Boule people, like the people in the Black Wall Street. And I believe, is that the Tulsa, Oklahoma slaughter that they blamed white people for too? I think white people were the face, but I think behind the scenes it was orchestrated. Just like with the Black Panthers, they were on bullshit too, a lot of them. They were agents put in place too to continue to program, the Black community. To continue to cause chaos and confusion in the Black community. They weren't shit either. Just like the civil rights movement, that shit wasn't shit. That was like he was saying in this video, that was the Black Lives Matter before Black Lives Matter. Martin Luther King, all of them motherfucking niggas were motherfucking imposters and shit. And I know a lot of people don't like that, but I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I have a dream. That was a whole fucking spell. Keep them in a dream state so we can hypnotize them. That's what that whole I have a dream speech was. That was a hypnotizing spell. And it has kept Black people hypnotized for the past 50-some fucking years. Or more. Keep them in a dream state. Keep them locked out. Martin Luther King wasn't even in love with Coretta Scott King. He was in love with some damn Boston teacher some teacher that was in Boston. I think she was a white lady, and I don't care nothing about that. But he didn't walk and live in his truth either. Probably was a Mason somewhere down the line. But then they started intertwining Masonry with Boule, and that's where the problem came in. Boule and Mason are not the same thing. And I actually learned that by examining and listening to someone else. Boule is a bloodline. You can't get initiated into that. See, I'm Boule by bloodline. And it really has nothing to do with money. It really has nothing to do with money. That's what they made it into. Boule is a bloodline. That is a bloodline. And when you're part of that bloodline, no matter how much money you have a certain amount of protection around you, spiritual protection. And them motherfuckers know that. See, Boule is more feminine energy, Masonry is more masculine energy. That is where the men started taking over. Now, I know they have the Eastern Stars and stuff like that, which is a female version of the Masons. I get that. I understand that because my great great grandmother was an Eastern Star. See, this shit is all in my bloodline. You feel what I'm saying? But we don't question, we don't examine, and we don't judge. And I think that is where the problem comes in. Anyway, I just thought I would talk about that a little bit, you know, and just give my own perspective on certain things, you know. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.